We begin our scene not too long after the leaving of the three sides. Such a interesting and suspicious arrival into Ulric's dear city. Giving him gifts of lovely, well-crafted jewelry. One that he's perhaps not too keen to keep a hold of because, well, he's aware that Setites have access to arts beyond his purview. He'll keep it safely locked away, he thinks, for now. Perhaps he may determine a way to ensure its validity. But until then, he'll stick to his other safer gifts and the rather fine, much more expensive and genuine gifts from Constantinople. The dream has been so generous, and it has only been a night. But we fast forward to now, with Ulric and his seneschal, as they do not have too long until morning now. The Setites arrive awfully late. And we are left with those two after the Setites have left the building.
Madelain is she's given a bit of time after they've left. And she's at one point just looks at Ulric and well, I think we have certain things we need to prepare for. With this development, I am quite sure that there are a lot of people in the city who will be very upset.
I'll have to have Ivan
I have spoken
look
to
into it.
Ivan.
I may require his assistance on the matter. I may even have a nomination in store for the sheriff, I suppose. Orsini and the sheriff still haven't appointed their subordinates.
That is quite interesting. I spoke of him about the same. He's
I
not
know
met the sheriff yet, and I have plans to introduce the two and suggest that he would be appointed hound.
This is good. He has proven himself, and his clan's unique talents can come in very useful. I want to keep an eye on these Setites, make sure they do not overstep their bounds. One is manageable, a coterie less so. And they still have a temple we have yet to locate.
Indeed. Well, if you agree that Ivan would make a good hound, I had to be sure that you would agree, but it seems that it is not a point of contention. So that is good. What do you make of these three coming at the same time?
Well, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm sure you did. He just kind of smiles warmly at you. Matt, we were more or less given an answer when we asked as to why they were here.
Sure. It is a good enough reason, but...
Well, it was answering a question of a question. I found that awfully suspicious. I understand that everyone has their secrets, but
I'm not sure what to make of them yet, but caution and quite a lot of...
you seem awfully keen to make that in that back room Elysium. I hope they know that it's not actually an Elysium.
They will know soon enough.
As for the larger one, I'd like to know what business he intends to create.
He looked like a fighter.
We'll see. So long as he does not go raiding my countryside and committing atrocities in the street, it shouldn't be a problem, but it never helps to be safe. I don't want a cult rising up from under my feet.
No. But I would be surprised with the way that Jamalia tends to carry herself. But this is not what she wants, and it is not what they want. So sooner or later, unless we want to bar them from spreading their beliefs to others, it will happen, whether we want to or not. They believe it quite strongly, you know. I spoke to Jamalia.
Of course, we'll have to highlight the costs. I have no doubt that the members of my court are loyal. The only question would be Orsini, considering he was willing to swap our arts and ascetites.
She on a table she puts down the box with the earrings she's gotten, puts them down. She goes over to Ulric very close. She just remember when we have gotten here, not too long after. Been here for a couple of months. We began to find each other. That there are others like us. Do you remember seeing what he did? What we almost did to him? I thought he had learned his lesson. I thought he would not be rash again, but it seems that he is a slow learner. He has been quite rash quite a number of times, and one of them with a Setite no less. Openly saying that he would want to deal with them.
He
He
prides
is up.
himself on following the path of the elders. I'm not sure if they'd appreciate such a gesture.
And I'm not sure we should be feeling safe with him around, given what he does and how he does it.
Ulric sits down on the rather large Bernalisian, guides Madelain there as well. He's just sitting on it, just getting more comfortable, just a change in scenery. As he looks at her fairly contemplative and seriously, what would you suggest we do?
He is family. He is capable in many ways. But what I suggest is that you, we have a plan, a contingency, if you will. So not if, but when we have to make an example of him, we have certain things ready.
They have to track down the individual that runs his underground army, so to speak.
Or some. I have met him.
Good. We should be ready to sweep in and claim the lost pieces.
Indeed, this is what I speak of. If something were to happen, which will, given how rash and how careless he is sometimes, at some point, we will have to make a choice. You could side with him, and it would have reasons for it. But at some point, it may have been maybe prudent to show that he is no longer in the graces of the barony. It could help your you in the eyes of others. But I
You
am
know,
merely
I'm,
I am merely saying it because it might become an eventuality, and at that point we need a plan and we need swift action when it happens, so that we can limit, minimize the turmoil and the danger and the damage that will come after this thing.
he could have been more if he weren't so forceful.
Sorry, what did he say?
Uh, he could be more if he hadn't been so forceful.
Indeed. Think of it.
Just
Think of it. If he insults someone that he did Geralt, but more, that does not stop. If he is that much of a problem for someone, you will have to make a choice. Do you risk enraging others more than who are already mad at the blood tax and the decrees you have made? And I'm not saying it is an easy choice, and I'm not saying that you should do one thing or the other, but I am saying that we should prepare.
we should find out where his. Well, you already met his servants, so we'll be ready when he falls to take them. The question is, any others, and what becomes of his business? I suppose it's largely unimportant considering what it is.
I doubt the brothel is the only source of revenue for him, but, well, we will not be able to gain full control, but we can prepare for certain eventualities of this. Other than that, we will soon be at the feast of the Roman contingent.
Yes, I may bear their armor as a sign of gratitude, although I hope it's not too self-indulgent.
Mm. For someone who may not rival Jerusalem, but surely almost rival them, they seemed quite.
Very confident talking about the prince and perhaps not as positive a light as one would expect.
There is that, of course, but they also seemed very eager to please, did they not? For someone of their stature, they did not need to, did they?
I am actually quite interested in what Odessa was before the disappearance of so many. He
If
said
they
it
had
was.
come and claimed, we could easily have fallen under their sway, under their protection, but As of now, I do not think it is a prudent choice to declare us for them because, well, even if we had assurances, I do not think that at least Ezekiel would be a person to relinquish any territory without a fight.
Hmm. Though I never went through Constantinople for the Crusades, but I had heard stories of the few that run it. Very powerful. One could also say mythical in a sense. Although I'm not particularly interested in having a conflict, a tug of war between Edessa, or between Jerusalem and Constantinople, if Edessa was the prize.
Well,
Unless we could have been guaranteed
a
a
conflict could be
better
many things.
deal.
Exactly. The conflict could be clearly diplomatic. If it does not come to open conflict, then we can find a solution that would please them both, and we would come under well, we come into a position where we would have to pay taxes, of course, but maybe of gold and silver, and not of vessels. I would think that would be a good situation.
It would certainly make managing the city much easier and less taxing on our other cohorts and residents.
If you were to, she pauses, you could speak to Helias of this, but you must make clear to her that this is a conversation between the two of you and no one else. But at least, well, you will not say anything that will come back to you, but you will say that you have thought, what if they had come first? What situation would Odessa be in? And then
I
ask her
prefer to.
what what situation would she think that Odessa would be in? It would give the impression that you are at least thinking of it. That would be one way to do it.
As you say, I prefer to allude to my intent rather than state it.
Exactly.
That's my foremost concern will continue to be the safety of the Cainites of the city.
Mm.
If this risks too broad a conflict, my hands are inevitably tied anyway. I was aware when the tide was mentioned that this wasn't going to be particularly pleasant.
Well, enough of that. Speaking of safety, or the direct opposite, more like, have you come to a decision regarding Calixte?
Hmm. Seems we'll have many tasks for Ivan. And she'll be stripped of his protection, and then he'll disappear for a while, and then he'll come back.
Well, you know that I can house him, if need be.
And should he speak of it, he shall face some more permanent punishment.
Indeed. Well, and she looks at him. There is one other thing. And she goes over to him. She stands with her back to him, and this jewelry. Please tell me you have no intention of putting it on.
He walks up to you, obviously from behind, places his hands on your shoulders as he kind of peeks over you and says, "Well, I think it looked much better on you, wouldn't you say?"
Mm. I have heard too many stories of things they are able to do. I would not take that chance. They would
Yeah, well,
probably not be
make
foolish, but supposedly they are very subtle. You can see that she's doing something in the front, but it's quite clear after a little while that she's essentially undoing her clothes at this point,
yeah.
as she just more or less just let them drop to the floor and just turns around. Um, there was something that it has been a while since, and I've been looking forward to it. And the two will begin to kiss, and
Well, Madeleine starts kissing Ulric. He's like, what? What's one thing, by the way? Nom. um, no. Ulric will kiss back and bite back quite quite happily as 'tis not long before the sun rises, if our timing is correct. And that's where we'll end our scene.